Hi everyone, welcome to Beyond the Evidence. This is the channel where justice matters. My name is Marv. I am a true crime fanatic, and I love to dig deeper into the mysteries of unsolved cases. Join me as we search for missing persons, uncover the clues in unsolved murders, follow along with jury trials, and we'll be a voice for the voiceless. I'll share with you the facts, the theories, the clues, the evidence, and the controversies that surround these cases. This is Beyond the Evidence. Hey everyone, welcome to Beyond the Evidence. I'm Marv, your host. Many of you know me. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. Blood sugar got a little low and I had to eat something and wait for the side effects to stop. They haven't quite stopped yet, but we're getting there. But we certainly can start this live tonight. Boy, things change in a day. Let me just tell you that. Yesterday compared to today, whole nother ballgame. I am still getting updates as I speak. Everybody's doing their lives, got notes. My Discord is full of notes on the past 2 days. And I'm going to share everything with you guys and more. Wow is all I can say between the past 24 hours. But first, I want to welcome everybody. Paradise City, welcome. Renee Days. Marv, been a minute. Break it down, girl. So hopefully you don't lose power. Y'all have crazy weather. I'm telling you, last night it just hit. There was no warning, lightning, thunder, everything. And the lightning was so bad that we always unplug like my computer, Andrew, my husband's computer, sometimes the TV, depending on how bad it is. So I apologize for last night and yesterday. Gail, how are you? Yolanda, nice to see ya. Tornado Dorothy, how's it going? Troll Shovel, so glad you're here. You take care of you first. Absolutely, I will. I promise. Yep. You care for yourself, Marv. Ari is not going nowhere. No, he's not. Oh, yes, the bombs are going to drop, Coach Kev. Get ready. I did post a link in case anyone wants to come on with me. Hi, Jill. How are you? I missed your hello, Marv. Mommy Wolverine. Hi. Rescue all the dogs. Hi, everybody. Just driving and listening. Got to say a big thank you to Rescue All the Dogs and Frank Meister and Jinx and Tommy and Turbo and all those that are sending in updates on what's happening. I appreciate it so much. It kills me not being there. Hi, Louise. How are you? Lynn, welcome. Andrea's here. Keeping eyes peeled. Hello, everyone. Hello, Marv. Hello, my dear. Jan. Hello, welcome. Mustang's here. Good to see you too. Melissa, nice to see you. Sees through. Welcome. Frank Meister says, what's up? Camaro lover. Hi, how are you? I could hear them in my head. They was telling the judge off. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Fight for justice. Nice to see you. Let's see here. Gambizi, welcome. Thanks for joining us. You too, David. Just made it. Yep, haven't started yet. Giving people time to come in, saying hello to everybody. Let's see here. I think we got everyone. Okay. You might hear some beeping, some dinging. Like I said, I am still getting updates. I got to click on something here because something's coming in. Okay. I'm going to pause this. Thank you, Andrea, for sending me that. Find the right screen. Close some of these. Oh, no. There we go. I had my own video playing. Okay. Ben, hello. All right. There's going to be some bombshells told. Now, I want everyone to keep in mind that this information is coming from other individuals and how they heard things and what they saw. Okay? Numerous individuals, not just 1, 2, or 3. So you got to keep that in mind. This is how they're perceiving things. I've had a lot of discussions today on how people perceive different ways, different things. So just keep that in mind. But today was a treasure trove of new information. Yesterday, not so much. So let's start with yesterday, the high points of yesterday. Okay. The high points of yesterday was Liggett got up and testified. Said as far as the safekeeping motion, he doesn't care where Richard Allen is. Okay? The thing that he cares about the most is this. If Judge Gull decides to move Richard Allen to Cass County and something happens there, they cannot house him in Delphi. They do not have the means to protect him. He would go in Gen Pop. Okay? So that is the biggest thing. As long as he's okay with him going to Cass County, as long as they can protect him and provide the mental health services that Richard Allen has been getting all this time. So Rozzi and McClellan handled the safekeeping order. The other big thing of the conversation about yesterday was McClellan's mustache. Don't have pictures of it, but I can't wait to see it because I heard it was awful. Hey, Ruckus, how you doing? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let's see here. Jennifer, and I don't know how to pronounce her name, so if I get it wrong, I'm so sorry. But Jennifer Auger and McClellan handled the motions for sanctions to compel and suppress. And we all know that so far Judge Gull has taken everything under advisement. She has 30 days to make a decision on all of these motions. 30 days is going to be cutting it pretty close. All right, hang on. Hello. Frank Meister's on the phone, everybody.
Hey, it's OJ.
OJ.
Yes.
Okay. That
I
G.
just wanted to make sure you knew how to pronounce it correctly.
That G thing throws me off.
Yeah, it looks like Ogler.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. That's why I said it. Auger. But it's.
We learned in the courtroom real quick.
I bet. OJ.
What's going on, everybody?
Can everybody hear Frank? I'm waiting to hear. I've got you right by the microphone, so they should be able to.
What's going on, peoples?
Been
a long 2 days.
Oh, I bet.
3 hours of sleep.
What? You were supposed to go home last night and sleep.
It sucks.
Can't just go home and go to sleep, can ya?
But that damn anticipation shit really does suck.
Oh, it does.
But I should be home in about 10 minutes. When I get there, I'll hook up with you.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, I'm glad he corrected it because I don't want to offend anybody. OJ. Kind of like, I don't know. There was 2 exhibits that were submitted for the 3 motions yesterday. Both the state and the defense corresponded with Gull prior to these hearings, and they were in agreement as to the order. Like I said, Liggett testified. And Jennifer Auger and McClellan handled the motion for sanctions for the state regarding their allegations that the Google searches to geolocate all the phones, there were 1,800 There were 18,000 device ID line items entries, but no names. Okay? These included different dates, times, events for each ID. We also know that yesterday the defense wanted a refund of $12,000 because Baldwin traveled to Georgia to obtain information on the Brad Holder mimic picture, and that Ryan Busher tipped into ISP in April of 2017. Auger argued that the Carroll County taxpayers could have avoided this expense if the state had turned over what the defense considered evidence. Okay. McClellan said that he didn't see the logic or reasoning in turning over something that the state itself never had. And Baldwin made the determination that the mimic picture was discovery and exculpatory evidence, not the state. Additionally, an update was done for the Celebrate software in 2024. And the weekend of May 11th, 2024, ICAC, Christopher Cecil, did a new cell phone extraction. Cecil's full report has not been turned over yet. One final motion for dismissal after lunch. Court is back in session at 1:20. Now, I do have to say that Judge Gull was late yesterday because of construction, so they did not have a full day. I think they started like an hour and 15 minutes late. As far as I know right now, Richard Allen is staying in Cass County for the remainder of the hearings. So yesterday he walked in wearing an orange jumpsuit with his legs shackled and a belly chain. One hand was uncuffed, allowing him to hold a pen. From what I have heard, he looks a lot better, a lot healthier than what we saw last year. I have updates on why that is. Defense team argued the arraignments have been made to move Richard Allen from Wabash Valley Prison to Cass County Jail, modifying safekeeping order from November 2022. Carroll Sheriff says it's okay with that as long as Allen isn't returned to jail in Delphi. Okay. What kind of questions were Liggett asked? Hang on. Somehow I got to make this bigger. All right. I've got all these different things that I have to open up and read, so bear with me, everybody. All right. So basically there was questions asked to Liggett like, is he in charge of the care of Richard Allen? He said no, because the people at Westville or where he is at now would be, or he said yes. Did you go and visit his accommodations in both prisons? He said no. Did he have a problem with Richard Allen staying in Cass County? He said no, but he did reiterate that Richard Allen could not come to Delphi. So let's see, what else do we have? I'm bringing all these different pages up. So what the defense is saying is that Cass County Jail is well equipped to have a high-profile inmate who cannot be safely placed in general population. So what are the key issues of having Richard Allen moved to Cass County? Well, he's got to be secluded from everyone else and kept safe. And number two, he has to continue getting mental health help. So I think Those are the two things that Judge Gull is really going to take into consideration when she makes her decision. If Cass County can have Richard Allen there, keep him safe, and continue his mental health treatment, I don't see why he shouldn't be brought there. Especially since August 1st is tomorrow. We're only 2 months away from the trial. Give his attorneys access to him, let his family see him, and then the state's not going to be paying all that money to transfer him back and forth either. Save the community some money. Let's see here. So the other big topic of yesterday was Brad Holder. Okay. We all know the defense is going to try to pin this on Brad Holder and others.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
No, watch. Don't be trying to talk to me now. So, it was all about Brad Holder. What he testified to, or what he made statements to, not getting the statements, not getting the phone dump, not getting this, not getting that. Okay? Because it was all about the sanctions and compelling the prosecution to give the evidence to the defense. Let me just say this. Okay? And the reason I'm going to tell you this is because my husband's very smart. He listened to a lot of things with me last night, and he said to me, it is not the prosecution's job to find this information for the defense when they know they've sent it. It is also not the prosecution's job to accurately label everything as to what it is. He said all they have to do is say phone dump data and give all the information. It is up to the defense to look through all of this. And this is a key point that Nick McClelland stated. It's not the prosecution's job to babysit and do the defense's job for them by continually going back and looking for this information that they know they've sent and providing it to the defense. And he's absolutely right. So the defense needs to do their job and look through the information and find it. They also stated that the second interview for Richard Allen, they didn't have to Mirandize him. They didn't have to record it either, because Richard Allen voluntarily came in to talk. So the prosecution's doing a good job of countering what the defense is saying. Now, each of us has our own opinions, and that's fine. Maybe things should be more laid out as to when you send evidence to the defense or the prosecution, it needs to be labeled in some kind of manner. But as of right now, it's not. Okay? According to McClelland, the police followed their procedures and protocols. And if the defense doesn't like that, that's on the defense. It's not up to them and others to change the laws, the procedures, that they follow. Okay. I'm getting to that. Okay. So there was a discussion today. One of the things that happened yesterday was that Brad Holder's time card for that day was submitted. We know when he punched in, punched out, punched back in, and punched out for the day. The defense is not thoroughly thinking this through. We know times based off of the documents that we have been able to see. Okay? Brad Holder punched out of work at 2:45 p.m. I have asked people that are from that area, how far of a drive is it from Brad Holder's work to the Monon High Bridge? I was told 30 minutes. 30 minutes. So if he left work right away and didn't stop to talk to anybody, that would have put him there between 3:15 and 3:20. He then would have had to walk to the scene, do whatever he did, and get out of there quickly and have absolutely nobody see him. Yet we know that people saw Richard Allen. His movements, Brad Holder's movements for that day, do not match up with the timeline of when the girls got there and when the police say everything was over by, which was 3:30. Okay, so is that where he worked, was in Logansport? Still, if you take the timeline into consideration and say he left there, he punched out and he left within 5 minutes, that's 2:50. He still has to drive there, which is 15 minutes. And he still has to walk to the scene, which is, what did we time it as? Anywhere from 7 to 12 minutes, depending on what path you take and how fast you walk. Yes, and he had to make it back to the fitness center by 4 because they have him there at that time. Okay, he worked at Winnemucca at the landfill. Gotcha. Thank you for telling me that. He was in a different town for his work at the time, not his regular one. Okay? And he checked into the Logansport gym at 4 o'clock. That's what I'm saying. And Shelley says it was 35 minutes away. The timeline for him to be the man on the bridge does not fit. The timeline for him to even go there and do all this ritualistic stuff, kill the girls and leave, doesn't fit. And the main thing is that not one person has identified him being there at this time. Not one. But we have several witnesses that have come forward and said that Richard Allen was there. So I just want you all to think about that. Let's get into today, because I know you guys have watched a lot of stuff about yesterday already, but today's information is key. Richard Allen came into court. He again was jittery, looking up and down, taking notes. Now, some have perceived the fact that when he was talking to his attorneys, that there was some contention there between Richard Allen and the attorneys. Now, we know that both Rozzi and Baldwin were there in the morning. However, after lunch, Baldwin did not come back. Okay. So first thing that happened is 9:03, they got in there. Rozzi, part of the defense for Richard Allen, withdrew their motion to suppress the second interview with Lieutenant Jerry Holman on October 26, 2022. Why is that? They wanted that one out the most. Why did they withdraw their motion? And does that mean that later on they're going to refile it? We'll have to wait and see. Judge Gull held up an 8-inch stack of documents with submission details for the motion in Lamine hearing scheduled for tomorrow. A sign of what is to come. Dr. Walla's testimony was supposed to be this morning. That didn't happen because the warden from Westville went on the stand first. He told the court about Allen's interactions with him and other staff while incarcerated. He said that Allen would wash his face in his toilet water. Scratched his windowsill in the cell so much that it had to be replaced. He had full control of dimming and turning off his own cell light. And that was solely controlled by Richard Allen. His testimony was very strong, and he was confident in his posture and postured himself very confidently. He triggered Rozzi to some extent because he couldn't shake the warden off of his testimony. Got heated at times between the prosecution and the defense and Rozzi and the warden. They said by the end of the warden's testimony, Rozzi kept getting louder and louder because he could not shake the confidence of the warden. Allen engaged heavily in discussions with Baldwin many times, and Allen was seen nodding his head to confirm what the warden was testifying about, to confirm it. Allen's disposition was very different today. He turned around several times to look at Kathy and Janice, and this individual noted that Kathy still had her wedding ring on. She was joined by a friend late in the morning in court, and that Baldwin came over to meet her friend and shake her hand at lunch break. Court resumes at 1 p.m. with testimony of Dr. Walla. Mullen recalled Detective Purdy from yesterday and possibly Detective Kendall. I don't have my notes at lunch. Kendall is there, though. An attorney for the state sat in the well as Gallupo testified. Another individual stated, this individual revealed the multiple ways Richard Allen allegedly confessed to killing Abby Williams and Liberty German. Allen has been charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of felony murder in the deaths of these teen girls. Bradley Rozzi, one of Allen's attorneys, said of the alleged confessions, I like to think of them in 5 different buckets. Those buckets, he said, would be family, inmates, guards, the warden, and chaplain, and an Indiana Department of Corrections psychologist. Stacy Diener, representing the state of Indiana, said the defense's motion has a lack of clarity. She added that in the course of 2 months, Allen made 61 statements to each of the bucket categories. Former Westville Correctional Facility Warden John Gallupo said he personally heard Allen confess multiple times through his phone or through his prison door. Gallupo did not record the confessions, but said others may have. He said Allen did not give details, but mentioned Abby and Libby by name. So one issue that we've had today in court is this. Judge Gull has refused cameras in the courtroom. We're all upset by this, but there's a reason for it. Yesterday, somebody was doing something with electronics that they shouldn't have been doing. Today, same thing happened. Okay, let me see this. He cannot turn off his light in his cell. He can only dim it, but it's still opposite of what we were told, that the lights were always on. Right. Okay. So this was posted in the Carroll County comment page. The warden said RA wrote him a letter confessing, now has changed his story to be heard the confessions multiple times through the door. He also mentions that he gave the girls names. The whole world knows their names. 61 alleged confessions, all at Westville, but not a single confession so far that anyone knows about while he was housed in Allen County, White County, or Wabash Valley Correctional. Day 2 has revealed the multiple ways Richard Allen allegedly confessed to killing Abby Williams and Liberty German. Okay. Bradley Rozzi, one of Allen's attorneys, said of the alleged confessions, I'd like to think of them in the 5 buckets. We read that. We read that Diener said there were 61 statements to each of the bucket categories. Okay. So another thing that came out was that Richard Allen, this is gross, y'all, besides wiping his face off with toilet water, there was feces incidents, ingesting them and smearing them all over himself and the cell. They also heard about how he was banging his head against things in his cell. Now, we all know that Richard Allen has never been in prison, as far as we're aware. This was his first time in solitary confinement. It's going to be rough, right? It really is. Your mental state declines rapidly when you are confined and in those conditions, and you've got all of this stress on you. Okay. Was he playing some of it up? I don't think so. I think it really got to him. I really do. I knew it would get to me. Not allowed to talk to anybody except for the inmates and whoever's there at the jail. I mean, that would get to anybody. You would lose your mind after a while. That's a proven fact. And that happened to him. So what else the warden gave as far as information, I'm not real clear yet. I don't have a lot more other than that. Okay. But this afternoon, when the psychologist from Westville testified, there were bombs dropped. Walla was brought as a witness for the defense team. Okay. She has been meeting with Richard Allen on a weekly basis. It started out on a daily basis. Then it'll go to a weekly basis. And then if things start getting bad, she'll go back to a daily basis and then back to a weekly basis. Okay. Depends on his condition. So she has been with him multiple times for a great number of hours. Okay. Her report on him is very extensive. Inches. More than 7 or 8 inches probably. It's huge. So Rozzy was questioning her today. And what did we get out of her testimony between Rozzy and the prosecution is this. Richard Allen was in Walla's office. They were having a therapy session. He asked her to call his wife. He called Kathy and he said, "I killed those girls." And either hung up accidentally or the call was disconnected. We don't know. But he wanted to call back because he told Dr. Walla that he did not believe his wife believed him in what he was saying to her. That's huge. I killed those girls. Now, what else did I learn about Dr. Walla? Well, I learned that through everybody's interpretation, I learned that Richard Allen was getting monthly shots. And it was of a medication to keep him calm. Okay? Because he would get upset and he would hit his head. Now, in the situations where he got out of control, they gave him an immediate shot that would pretty much keep him from doing anything. Knock him out. Make him stop hurting himself. But the monthly shots was an overall shot to keep him calmer. All right, 1 second here. Frank, I'm dropping the link. Another thing that I learned about Dr. Walla, she has become a fan of this case because of meeting with Richard Allen. Her and her boyfriend actually took a road trip and on their way stopped at the Monon High Bridge and walked around the area. She also watches the videos that we create and others create. She told Richard Allen with a smile, "You have supporters." And she also mentioned that this case is her entertainment. Let's bring on our guest.
Going on, people? Sorry, message is still flowing in.
I know, mine keeps going off too.
Yeah, Dr. Walla, when she was on the stand, every time Rosie asked her a question, she was basically kind of
Snippy.
not really snippy, but kind of giving him a smirk like, what the hell are you asking me that for?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it happened through the whole thing with her. You know, and I was just like, this girl's laughing at Rosie right there on the stand, and it's blatant as day. But she went on that trip from Indianapolis to Delphi on company time.
Oh.
Yes.
There is the link in the chat again. Ruckus, anybody else who is a creator, if you want to join us, you're more than welcome to.
These last 2 days, ooh, man, I'm telling you what.
So she actually went on, I thought it was her and her boyfriend went from Indianapolis to Chicago, and
on the way
they stopped at Delphi.
Yeah, it was on company time.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. What else do we know about this girl? We don't know which YouTubers they are, but she is a fan of a lot of them.
Yep.
And I'm just like, she had a real good relationship with him. When we saw the actual medical file on Richard Allen between him and Dr. Walla, it was probably about 8 to 10 inches thick.
Oh.
He went over every page. That's why it took so long. He went over every page, was reading, and he would create a question from every page. And then Judge Gold's like, "Are you done?" And he's like, "Nope." And I said, "I'm out of here. I ain't coming back today." I said, "This has turned into a shit show." You know, and I'm fed up with the defense. I mean, after Dr. Walla came out and told them about what Richard wanted from her, and she obliged him by calling Kathy, and he got on the phone and told her that he's the one that did this to the girls. And then he hung up and told Dr. Walla, I don't think she believes me. And he told Dr. Walla he didn't want to live anymore. You know, and this is an indication to me that he wants to plead guilty, but Rosie and Baldwin are not letting him.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up because I had some notes sent to me. And one of the things that was said is that, and I know you weren't in there for this, but one of the things that he specifically said, Richard Allen, he said he was disappointed in his lawyers and said he was sorry to what he did to Abby. Never once mentioned Libby.
What's that tell you? Abby. He's having an emotional breakdown of what he did to Abby.
Okay, so what we do know is that he found God
Mm-hmm.
in March of what I'm told is 2022,
Yep.
which is part of the reason why
No, that would be March of 23.
23, sorry, which is why his mental status flipped and he got better.
Yeah.
We're told that
I'm getting my notes. Hold on.
there was 600 confessions.
61.
No, all right, there was 60 confessions with details.
Well,
And
we don't know any of the details.
There was 40 plus more without details.
Yeah, that was never mentioned.
Well, that was when you were out of the courtroom.
Well, what I'm saying is they didn't go into detail because apparently when she was going to go into detail about stuff, they cut her off.
Well, this came out when Brian Harshman, the very last witness, testified today.
Yeah, I know who he is.
He is the police officer that joined the task force early 2020.
Yeah, he was working in the Great Lakes Task Force.
Yep, and he was responsible for, as soon as Richard Allen made a text or a phone call, he got a direct message, and he would go and read all of those text messages or listen to the conversation. So by his testimony, there was 60 confessions with details about what happened. They would not say what those details were. And there was 40 plus more confessions without details.
I'm trying to find my notes.
R.E. told Harshman that he found God in March of 2023, and he doesn't want them to be put through this and see everything that he wants to go to heaven so he can see his family again.
I did get word on the way home that apparently he wanted to kill his family.
Really?
Prior.
Wow.
Yeah. So who was it? I think it was Jinx or somebody that got with us on the way home because she stayed.
Yeah.
And she was telling us this. He wanted to kill Kathy and his family. We don't know what happened from there, but it ended up being Abby and Libby.
Okay. Harshman listened to 150 to 175 hours of phone calls and hours of texts. Over 675 phone calls.
Melissa Wildcard, no, the girls were not sexually assaulted.
When they talked about him eating his feces and beating his head against the wall, he buried his head.
You know the little glass they have on your door, right? So you can look out. He intentionally scratched it up so they couldn't look in on him. So they had to replace that little glass.
Right. So, I mean, when we talk about statements or confessions, I mean, if it was one or two, Frank,
right,
you could say, okay, that was made under duress. But we're being told that he was confessing to guards as they were moving him to different places or locations or to Dr. Walla's office or wherever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't tell me that
61 was coerced.
Specific details
or coerced.
Were coerced, right?
There's no way in hell. Like you said, if it's 1, 2, or 3, yeah, we could see if it could be a coercion there, but 61,
and
that's
then
highly
40
unlikely.
Plus without specific details, that's over 100 times that he stated he killed the girls.
Gail, yes, he was a veteran. Rick Allen was a veteran. I'm reading the chat too, sorry.
Yep, no, I'm going to go start going through comments here.
Yes, we are sure that they were not sexually assaulted.
And yes, part of what's going on is because he found God, he is resentful, he is ashamed, He doesn't want to put his family through this trial. He has said that.
And that's why I believe that Rosie and them know he wants to plead guilty.
Yep.
And like I've been saying for months, this is not about Richard Allen to them whatsoever. It's about their egos and things that come along with that. It's not so much Baldwin, but Rosie. He puts on a show.
Yeah.
When he gets into that courtroom.
That's what I've heard.
You know, Baldwin's, he's relaxed and he's well reserved, you know, but Baldwin, I'd be asking to replace him. Sorry,
Yeah.
but I would be.
And he's supposed to be the first attorney on the case.
Mm-hmm. Because
Sounds
he's
like Charles is doing more than he is.
He's a death penalty qualified attorney, so I believe that's why they assigned it to him.
Ah, yes, it is. But yet Rosie is doing it sounds like Rosie's doing all the work. Do we have any idea why Baldwin left and never came back?
Well, according to Rosie, he had other professional obligations to attend to.
Ew.
Yeah. So it was just him and Ugla, whatever her name is.
Yeah, I can't pronounce it.
The name does not fit with the woman, I can tell you that. It's like, what? That says Ugler.
Yeah.
Yeah. After we went on break at 3:00, I said, I'm not going back in. I told Bob Mata, I told Kim, I told Hannah. And so we sat at the gazebo, and then Becky's sister came out, and then Brad's wife came out, and I was talking to them, and they was the one who gave me the scoop real quick. We got what we came to get.
Well, it really hurt the defense today because they're the ones that called Walla, the psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
She was supposed to be their witness.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, she hurt them the most.
Yep.
She actually did a better job for the prosecution than the defense. And she was a defense witness.
Diener's the one who was in charge of the hearing today for the state. They take turns, is what they've been doing.
Yep.
One attorney will do one hearing, and then the next hearing it'll be the next attorney, whatever. So it's not strictly just Nick working and doing all the talking. It's all of them.
And that's good because Nick has weaknesses. He has not done this before in this high-profile case.
Right.
And he needs the help.
Yeah. And you could tell he was agitated. He was sitting over at the desk like this.
Oh.
Just looking at Rosie like, damn, dude, are you going to stop anytime?
Right.
You know?
See-Through's Brian Harshman was the last witness for today.
Yeah. He's been at basically all the hearings. Harshman has.
Yeah.
Carter hasn't been to any of these hearings.
I wouldn't expect him to be if he's not needed.
Right.
You know, he's so busy doing everything else.
But when you got some of your employers that are being called by subpoenas, you think he would want to be there to make sure everything goes kosher.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, the rumor mill that went around back at the 500, he said that he was retiring after the Delphi case. So is he in the process of doing that now?
Maybe.
You know.
KS, they gave the name of it, but we can't quite remember what it was.
What's that?
The name of the 1 month or the shot they gave him once a month.
Yeah.
But when I get the transcripts, we'll get it.
Dr. Wallace said that the first time that she ever had any conversation with him, she knew right off the bat that he had severe psychosis.
Right.
Well, she basically said it was from stress.
Serious mental illness, SMI, is what was also said.
Paradise City, I was not in the courtroom. Yeah, I was, but we don't know how to pronounce that name. Hold on, I think she's got it written down here somewhere. I have to find it. We got so many notes, it's ridiculous.
Oh, I know. I got things that you guys gave me, things I've collected from all over the place. I heard the last witness drop bombshells. Yes, and the bombshells that Brian dropped were the fact that there was 61 confessions made with details about the crime in some way.
Let's see, right to date.
There was over 40 that were given without details.
Okay, here's Brian Marshman.
Oh yeah, and then another thing about Walla is that she has to make a 90-minute commute every day to Westville to work. So during that time, that is when she was listening to podcasts and live streams and videos about the case.
I think there's going to be a major issue with her.
You do?
Yep.
Because she's so entrenched in the case?
Yes, it's outside of her profession.
Yeah.
At that. I think it's going to be a problem.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, it just depends if somebody reaches out to the defense or they catch on to it.
It makes sense now why the defense wants to suppress her. Because of that. If she wouldn't have done that and wouldn't have visited the site and listened to all these podcasts, she would have been golden and fine as a witness.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen next? Nick's going to call her next.
Yep.
Nick will call her next.
I agree. Okay.
It's Ashe. That's what it is. Ashe.
Ashe. Okay. We will know. You guys, you're freaking out because if a plea deal is had, you think we'll never know, but we will, because all the documents will get unsealed.
And I'm sure Nick would make it an agreement that he would have to give a motive or explain what happened and why. That's the only way I see Nick accepting a plea agreement from them.
That sounds right, Chaos, but I'm not positive. Haldol?
The medication?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Nick's mustache handled emotion. That's what I heard. Okay, tell us about the mustache.
Oh my God. He looks like a greased out Italian. I'm like, me and Susan Hendricks was out in the atrium yesterday, and we were sitting there just shooting the shit with Nick. And I said, "Damn, man, when did you grow that?" He just started laughing. I said, "Everybody's tripping on you having a mustache, Nick." He said, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah. Nobody's seen you with one."
That's funny.
Yep.
He never had it when he was jumping around that pool table.
No, we're talking about Nick
McClellan.
McClellan. They were talking about Richard, that one.
It might have been true in this case, David, because he was losing it.
You know, when that stuff kind of comes out and they're saying he did this and they do that, I want to see the documents that prove that he actually was doing this stuff. I want to see the write-ups.
Right. Right. I agree.
You know, because anybody could say somebody did something in prison, but how do we know that actually happened? And I mean, when he was wearing that red jumpsuit, you see it looked like it had food and everything. I think that was all a ploy
by the defense team.
You have to make him look like he was freaking crazy.
Yeah. And yes, Hard Candy, he could fire them. But at this point, oh my goodness, put a delay on things more.
And see, that's why I think Judge Gold is giving the defense slack now. She's wanting to get this case over with.
Right. And you and I talked about that earlier.
Yeah. She's done with it. You could see it up there in her face. You know, I caught her a couple times nodding off up there on the bench. I sure did.
We think you're right, everyone who's saying that the medicine was the Haldol.
Let me look that up and see if it's a psychotic medication. Haldol.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that that's...
It's called haloperidol. Haloperidol. Brand name, Haldol. Antipsychotic.
See, through that's possible. I don't see the defense team wanting him to plea. They don't want him to plea. They want to take this to court. He's the one. Richard Allen is the one that wants to not do this to his family.
Deb has put up here his other medications too. Down toward the bottom. Because his medication list was released by one of the unraveling people.
Okay.
He's on I don't know how to pronounce that. He's on Flexitine. Abilify, that's garbage medications. Hey, Heather, it's been a minute since I've seen you.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, everybody in the chat, it's been a while since I've seen any of you guys. I know a lot of you guys are on my channel too, but coming over to Marbs, there's people I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
Like Cindy Lean, Angela Van Oven, Heather, Gambies. I don't know.
Gail, I think you make a good point here. Libby resembled his daughter. Makes sense if Ari wanted to take them out. Yeah.
I think he had more remorse for Abby.
Why is that?
I think that he felt remorse for killing her when he didn't want to, but he basically had no choice. And
Because
he
she
felt
was
bad.
there.
Yeah. He had no choice.
That was my thought, is she was collateral damage because she was there with Libby.
Now we do have a kind of a time frame on time of death.
Right.
Between 2:30 and 3:30. That was from Jerry Holman's testimony yesterday.
Okay, so between 2:30 and 3:30.
Yes.
No wonder why they kept saying it was all over by 3:30.
Mm-hmm. And see, I've been saying this for like 4 or 5 months now. I said, look, anybody any common sense is going to commit a crime like that in broad daylight. Me and you talked about this 2 years ago. We determined at the gate he was in the whoever it was, he was in the military.
Right.
We already knew this.
Right.
And I explained to everybody, I said, you got to look at it as if our United States military was in war, they're going to hit a target. They're going to hit it as quick as possible and get the hell out of there before the target's reinforcements come. He did what he had to do and got the hell out of there. But back that up a little bit, we believed he was spooked.
I do too.
By Brad Weber.
Yes.
Riding up the private drive.
Yes. I do too.
So,
because if you remember, Jill told us when we first got together, Jill told us he came driving down the private drive at about 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
That tells me
and that's when we determined that there was a gun involved also, because they confiscated his .40 caliber.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you confiscate his gun if there's no gun involved?
Right. He was losing it because he was incarcerated, Cindy. If you take a person like myself who has never been in prison before and you isolate them for as long as he was isolated and still is, They are going to have mental issues. That's all there is to it.
I believe that she is going to cancel the safekeeping order.
It's almost better for him just to be, if he can be in Cass County and they can do it safely and he can get mental help, then why not?
That's the problem, though. They don't have a full-time staff of medical there, so they have people on call that work 12-hour shifts. If something goes awry, they have to call them to come in.
Well, they're just going to have to get a full staff then, aren't they?
Well, they've already expanded the new jail there. They've got 100 extra beds.
Okay.
But I mean, you can't put him in Gen Pop, period.
No.
And that's what Liggett was saying yesterday when he testified. You can't, he said, I can put him here, but I do not want him here.
Right.
I can't protect him.
Right.
We don't have protective custody. We don't have suicide watch cell. Well, they do. They got one padded cell, and the rest is Gen Pop.
Right.
So what are you going to do? And I swear to God, I did this. During lunch, I got up, and Kathy, every hearing I go to, Kathy sits right in front of me. I stood up. I said, they're going to get your husband killed in that jail. And she turned around and looked at me. And I said, yeah, they're going to get him killed in there if they're trying to get him the safekeeping order dropped. And I guarantee she went to the Rosie about that. I don't care. I mean, we've been following this too long to pick up on what's going on here with Rosie and Baldwin.
Right.
We picked it up too quick. I mean, hell, they keep filing the same shit over and over and over and over and just rewording it. That's all they're doing.
So Gail brings up a good point. She says Lobrato had once said in an interview that RA never told him that he wanted Baldwin or Rozzi specifically to be his attorneys.
Well, that's not what was said in Allen County.
Yep, I know. But look at who it was coming from, too. It was coming from Baldwin and Rozzi.
Yeah, I don't think they're letting him talk. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, the last few hearings, he looks much better. He looks more coherent. You know, like today, he had a pad and paper, was taking notes. He was paying attention to everything that was going on. You know, but then when Dr. Walla got up on the stand, everything flipped. His head like this with a pen hanging out of his hand and looking down at the ground, looking up at the sky. And I'm like, oh, here goes the game. I bet he really flipped out too when Walla brought that out about calling his wife.
Oh, yeah.
I bet, you know, it wouldn't put it past me if he wanted her to do that on the stand.
Yeah.
And yesterday, Richard, they brought him in, and I sit in the second row, directly on the aisle behind Kathy and Richard's mother. Richard comes in and puts his hand on Janice's shoulder, and the guard grabbed him and moved him away.
Say that again?
He was walking by, okay, but he walks right by me, and then you got Janice here, and then you got Kathy right here.
Okay.
He took his hand and put his hand on Janice's shoulder, and the guard grabbed him.
Ooh.
I said, you can't do that.
Yeah.
He's being treated like he's in jail.
Yeah.
There is no touching of any visitations whatsoever. So they're doing it. They're treating it like that.
Yeah.
And then somebody asked me, well, they let Kathy go to what? No.
No, they cannot visit him.
Nope. Not while you're in court. And they was like, well, is she going to go to lunch with him? I said, no. No. They had one time they did that. It was in Allen County. They took her back to the back and let see Richard. That was the one where they canceled everything.
Right.
And I have never seen that before.
I'm just going to address this for a minute. Melissa, his family matters. They're victims just as much as Abby and Libby are. So when you say who cares about his family, I care about his family.
We all should, because they're not the ones that did this. Yeah, we understand what you're saying. She was married to the man, but you can't put that on her.
Nope.
She did twist Richard's arm.
She didn't do it. She didn't know.
She wasn't there. She didn't even know about it. But I beg to differ.
Right.
I beg to differ. I believe that she knew something at one point in time and just didn't say anything because of denial.
I'm beginning to think it was strictly Libby that was his target because of her resemblance to the daughter. I've always thought that.
There's a couple of us that are still trying to figure out if the girls were actually targeted.
Or if it was just a crime of opportunity.
Well, I mean, a person just doesn't go out there with a gun and a knife. What if it was actually Betsy Blair as his target and she left?
I have thought that for a long time because he had been to different places.
When she was there, he'd go in the gas station and they got him on camera in the store together. Yes.
I truly think Betsy Blair was his initial target. And then she went there. He saw her he was on the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
She turned around and walked away. And before he could do anything, Abby and Libby showed up.
Did you watch that CSI girl from Georgia on Kristen?
No, I have not had a chance to.
There's a few of us, Miss Deb, Kristen, myself. We all believe that Richard Allen was already on the south side of the bridge and he came up as the girls were coming across because the CSI specialist said, when I watched that video of BG, he's walking back toward the middle of the bridge, in the middle of the bridge. She said, that told me right there that they had some type of interaction there on the bridge and he passed them and turned around after the interaction because something was said.
See, that's where I disagree with you because of this. The timing from when Betsy Blair was at the end of the bridge and saw him, turned around and walked and saw Abby and Libby.
But where did she see them at? Was it at the split?
No, it was closer to the bridge, from what I understand. So my thinking is they did have a confrontation with him by or close to the end of the bridge on the north side.
Mm-hmm.
He turned around, walked away. And what he may have done is, the path that we take.
Yeah.
He may have went and walked in there and nobody would have ever seen him. You wouldn't have gotten him on the pictures. And then they walked across the bridge and that's when he went after him.
Yeah, I keep hearing from several different people something happened at the north end of the bridge prior to everything happening. But, I mean, there's no evidence of that right now.
No, there's not. That's just one of my theories.
Right. I mean, the reason why I haven't picked up on that theory about him being in the woods is because there's no foliage. And me being in the military, I know how this works. You're going to be able to be seen.
Yeah, but Frank, we've been there at that time of the year. Nobody from the bridge could see us, remember? Even without all the foliage.
Right.
They couldn't see us. I don't know why, but they couldn't. So it is possible he went up on the ridge before you start going down, stood there, watched, because he could see them, watched them. As soon as they made it halfway across that bridge, he come out and go on after them.
I want to know what the connection is because there's still people talking about, do we know that Richard Allen was doing CSAM crap?
No, we don't for sure.
Because if they were actually targeted, that means that they had interaction somewhere prior to that day.
Right. But we don't know what any of that is until the trial and the prosecutor drops all their evidence.
I can't wait for that.
Oh, I know.
If it even makes it there. Because you got to realize the defense has still got 2 continuances to use.
I know. I know. Believe me.
I was getting agitated today. Rosie would not shut up. I'm like, dude, 3 hours, really? On one witness? I understand. You see that a lot in murder cases.
Yeah.
You know, but to take the doctor's medical records on her patient and you're reading page for page, come on, dude.
That should have all been done beforehand with questions already known what he was going to ask.
Yeah. Well, I think he did that because there was yellow tabs I was seeing in the binder off to the side of the pages.
Yeah.
And then he was trying to have Dr. Walla read these evidence that he was admitting. And Judge Gold's like, won't you just admit it as exhibits instead of having her read it off? I was like, God.
Yes,
You're
David.
trying to stall, dude.
Libby did look, they resembled each other quite a bit. Deb's True Crime Notebook. I made you a moderator. Would you please drop your link to your channel in this chat? Everybody go and subscribe to Deb's True Crime Notebook.
She
She's
makes
been putting
great
out
videos.
great updates on each day of the hearing. She does great work. Please go support her.
A lot of us that we go to these hearings, we contact all the other creators and give them the information because we're not here to do a live. People have been asking me, when are you going to go live? Look, guys, I've had 3 hours of sleep in 2 days.
Right.
You know, and the only reason why I'm on tonight is because Marv asked me to come on. You know,
Well, you and I mean, and I said it in the beginning, you Rescue All the Dogs, Jinx, Tommy, Turbo. There's so many people that are giving updates and we all appreciate it because we can't be there.
Right. There was only 4 support. Let me think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 supporters for Richard Allen in the courtroom, which 90% of them was all attorneys. And the other 1, 2, 3, 5 were 3 of them were family members. 1 was Bob Mana, and the other one was Yellow Jacket.
Mm.
And I about tripped when I seen her walking up. I said, is that who I think it is? It was.
Yeah.
I said, man, she's got nerve. After what you guys have done.
That's weird.
And it's true.
I heard about an awkward situation in the ladies' room.
Okay.
Today where Kathy Allen was walking in and Becky Patty
walking out.
Woo! That is not a situation that I would want to be in.
I tell you what, Mike is the most laid back man I've ever met in my life. You don't see him getting angry, getting upset, getting loud. He doesn't do any of that. And I'm like, how you sit here, Mike, and just absorb all this and not get pissed off?
Yeah. All right, let me ask you, Frank. How was the context brought about of him wanting to hurt his family?
It was, hold on. I got notes here. I just got to find them because Rescue had a book and I had a book.
Right.
So I've got to find, I don't know if it was under Walla or if it was under Harshman.
Thank you so much, Alexa. I appreciate it.
Is Rescue still in here? She knows better of it than I do. Rescue, yep, she's still in here. Rescue, what was the deal with Richard wanting to take out his own family?
I wish Gull called the defense team's bluff and let them proceed pro bono. That would have been funny.
Yes, I mean, they're milking the state.
Oh, yeah.
$12,000 to drive down to Georgia just to pick up a damn picture.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
I have heard that, Gail, about Kathy, and I'm not saying anything negative about her, but I have heard that she is kind of naive.
They've been married
They've been
almost
married
30,
a long time.
almost 30 years. They didn't marry right out of high school.
Yeah, that photo collection would not have cost $12,000 exactly.
And what the hangman.
Yes, that one, that picture.
Yep. I remember what it was about yesterday. It was about the photo down in Georgia. The hangman.
It was the hangman and the one that Brad Holder had on his Facebook page of two women.
I'm trying to remember what the purpose of the hangman was. I can't remember. It's so much information I've absorbed over the last 2 days.
I know.
But they do bring up the hangman.
Wow.
They brought up about the tattoo on Brad's hand, resembled runes of what looked like was on Abby. And I'm saying, how can you determine that? I was like, you fucking idiots go out to the woods. I can guarantee I could go out there to the trails right now and find at least 100 ruins within the first 5 minutes.
Oh, within a minute.
Yeah,
30 seconds.
Because remember the last walk?
Yes.
We were going around taking pictures. Look, there's a room.
We were.
I'm like, yeah. I don't know much about medications, Angela. I'm on Buspirone for my anxiety and PTSD. Then it works pretty well for me. So
yes, and I want to say Kelly is right. The biggest bomb of all today was that Richard Allen knew specific, intricate details of the scene and the crime, and he confessed to them.
Yeah. Let's see. Exactly, Ruckus. And that's where I'm having a hard time. How do we know that they were the actual targets?
Right. I'm thinking he followed Betsy Blair there.
I do too, because they were seen in the damn store together. They weren't there together, but they were on camera in the store at the same time.
And I heard there was another trail that she liked to walk on that he was in the same area at the same time.
You know why she was there, right?
Huh?
You know why Betsy Blair was there, right?
No.
She is on the Deer Creek Board of Trustees with the McCains.
The McCains?
Yes. And they had a meeting that day, and she decided to go walk on the trails.
Okay. Yes, you did. You did hide behind a tree in April, Coach.
You can't miss this 6'3" ass either. He's tall as hell. You got all of his car and said, damn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Those tree branches are wide. They did make a great duo, Stephanie. Yeah.
You know, Flint's trial starts in September.
I know.
If it don't get continued.
How many trials start in the next 2 months?
You got Farmer. We got Allen. Who else?
Quentin Simon's mother.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And there's a few more that I just can't think of at the moment.
Man, I've been watching so many different cases, like the Karen Reed. You know, I got to keep myself busy when the case is slow.
Yeah, I know.
You know, You know, I got the whole file on Jordan Sofer.
That's what I've heard.
I've got the actual death investigation and the missing persons report, and I've even got her ex-boyfriend's suicide investigation report.
Oh, wow.
He had nothing to do with it. Corey didn't do it. He killed himself over another girl, according to his brother.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I think Ari was into something just by the look on his face when Kathy surprised him in the car at the Greenwood Park Mall.
Who in the hell in their right mind keeps cell phones for 19 cell phones like that?
Right. And not only that, Frank, all the computers and stuff too.
Yep.
So he was into something.
And Kathy was oblivious to it. Unless she knew, because I've heard things through the grapevine, and you got to take it with a grain of salt, that they were into that swinging crap.
Oh, really?
That's what I've been told.
So the upside down pineapple isn't just for Liggett?
Oh, God, here we go. I got a vape pen, THC vape pen. You know what flavor it is?
Pineapple?
Damn right it is. And I get teased about that damn thing all the time. I walked into the damn courtroom with that thing yesterday. And yesterday I went to the truck, came back, and had my gun on my side and went to walk in the courtroom.
Ooh.
Into the courthouse.
No, Deb's True Crime Notebook was not in court today, but she has been gathering everybody's information and doing a morning video recap and a nightly video recap.
Yeah.
So please go check out her channel. Let's see here.
Coach, where do you get Nick looks like Jim Croce? Croce had curly hair and a thick mustache. Nick looks like an Italian with a little thin mustache.
Cubs 8-3 in the 6th.
They ain't gonna make the playoffs. They need pitching something terrible and offense.
I'm thinking I might have to in October, Heather.
Well, if they do have the trial, Sarah, Ivy Push, and we were talking, and she said if we can get about 18 people together, there is a farmhouse about 3 miles from Delphi that we can rent out for about $50 a person a week.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And I said, hey, get on it.
Yellow Jacket is part of the unraveling.
Her name is Courtney Parsons.
Somebody wants to know, was Anna there yesterday and today?
She has not been to a hearing since last year.
Got to remember, you guys, she is the mother of one of these victims. And there are a lot of parents that can stand being in the courtroom when details are given, but there are a lot that can't, and they do leave. And if she knows that she's just not going to be able to handle it,
But you guys got to remember also, Anna is, we know Anna because of this case, and some of us have had interactions with her. Anna is not a woman to mess with. And I wouldn't want to piss her off, period. No matter what the circumstances are. It's the same way with Tara German. I would not want to cross her in an alley.
Right. Speaking of Turbo, Deb, can you drop Turbo Time's link in the chat also?
Turbo is probably one of the best that I've seen that goes into these courtrooms, and she gets word for word. I don't know how she does it.
She's awesome.
I know.
Somebody said they heard Mark Mike, Patty, and Art A came face to face at the door yesterday?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because what happens is when they seat everybody in the courtroom and then they bring Richard Allen in, okay? And then if we got a break or lunch, the judge excuses herself. Then they take Richard Allen out first. Nobody can leave the courtroom until Richard Allen and the judge has already left the courtroom.
That's what I was going to say. Thank you, Jinx.
Jinx is here. What's up, girlfriend?
I can see Libby as the outspoken one who stands up for herself, and Abby is shy. Yes, that's exactly how it was. And I would not... I can say I do not see Libby hesitating to mouth off to this guy and even go after him, especially if he's going after Abby.
Jinx did some really good note taking today.
All right, Jinx. Yes, she's been. That's what I said. Everybody's been supplying it.
And see, a lot of us know how to just look for the key points and all this stuff. That's why it's so easy for us when we're in the courtroom. But when Rosie this afternoon, he was going so damn fast, I could not keep up with him. I couldn't.
Oh, wow. All right, Jinx, you go crash. You all deserved it.
That reminds me.
I don't know that they're trying not to go into specific details about the suppression for this interview. Whatever is in this interview, the defense does not want us to hear it. So they are not going out of their way to give us details.
Hold on, I'm reading something.
Okay.
Who is this?
Let's see here. I'm just looking at comments here.
Somebody's in the chat copying or screenshotting the chat and putting it in another
Discord?
No, another YouTube.
Oh, interesting.
When I just said something about goal was nodding off,
Yeah.
they screenshotted that. I don't know who's doing it though. And we found out who was tweeting in the courtroom yesterday.
Who was it?
Amy Jones from The Comment. She was in the back of the courtroom today too.
Oh, that's how we were getting all that information.
Yes. Yep. Amy Jones from The Comment.
Thank you so much, Heather. I appreciate you too. I knew it had to be somebody from
news. Yeah. And so what they did yesterday, even though the quorum says we could take our phones in, but we had to power them down, we were able to do that. And before the hearing even started, one of the deputies came in and read the decorum again. He said, but it does not say that you can bring your phone in the courtroom.
Gotcha.
So what they are making us do is put our phone in a box at the door.
Oh.
Yeah. When we come in.
Did they say anything about evidence
No.
found in his home or car? No.
None of that was even discussed. They didn't even get to the search warrant. That's what's going to be tomorrow.
Okay.
The limine and rest of the suppression. And they even covered a little bit of limine today.
In what form?
Brad Holder.
Oh, okay. Yep.
The third party thing.
Yep.
And it's like I was talking to Diener yesterday, and I said, it really surprises me with this defense team. If they get a picture of Brad Holder from 2017, you can see the dude's nearly 6 foot tall, almost 300 pounds, bald headed, and a beard down to the middle of his chest.
Yeah.
What resemblance do you see with the BG photo and Brad Holder?
Right.
Oh, and Elvis Fields' sister was there yesterday.
She was supposed to testify, wasn't she?
Yes. Yep.
Yes, Becky is always there.
She won't miss them.
No. What about Kelsey? Was Kelsey there?
Yep, she's been there. It was Kelsey, Mike, Tara. Tara, one of her sons was there today. Then we had Carrie and one of her daughters was there.
Yep.
We had Anna's parents were there. Who else was there? Let me think. Brad wasn't there because he's been having some health issues. Becky's sister, Brad's wife, guys, this is something that me and Marv almost 3 years ago had to explain to people. Everybody seemed to think that Nick is related to Brad German's wife because his wife was married to Nick McClelland's uncle, and it was his aunt at one point in time.
Oh,
so
okay.
they automatically assumed when they got divorced and she got married to Brad German, that made Nick a relative of the German family. And I said, oh no, you guys are making a stretch out of this one.
Yep.
Yes, Turbo is great at what she does.
She is.
Her and Ivy Push. Aspen was there. I got to meet Aspen finally.
That's so neat. Is he staying for tomorrow?
Yeah, he's in. Him and Hannah Shakespeare got to be airbun.
Okay.
Yeah. And she left early too. She said, I couldn't take no more.
I don't blame you guys.
And I told Kim, I said, I'm not going back in there. I said, this is a bunch of garbage that's going on in here right now. He's dragging this crap out.
Yeah.
Well, he told Judge Gold yesterday, she said, how long is it going to take to present your case? And he said, more than likely half the day. And then she said, well, if we get done early, we get done early. And so everybody's thinking when we can win today, man, I hope we're out of here early today.
Wrong.
And she even made a comment, if we have to go into Friday, we're going to go into Friday.
Oh, I think you guys are.
Hold on. I've got dates for jury selection, jury questionnaires.
Oh, there you go.
Hold on. Let me find it.
Days are going by quick, you guys. October's going to be here before we know it. We have to wait until Judge Gull makes her decision on the motion of limine, which they're going over tomorrow.
All right. Jury questionnaires or jury selection is going to happen from October 14th through the 18th, starting at 8:30 in the morning until 1 p.m. They have 50 jurors that are going to sit in the gallery.
Okay.
And what's the word I want to use?
They're going to probably rotate them in.
Man, what's that word? Oh, it's 50 jurors per round.
That's what I was thinking. 50 at a time.
Yes.
They're going to bring in 50, question them, whatever, decide whether they're going to be on the jury or not. And then once that group's done, they'll bring in the next 50 and then the next 50.
Exactly. And she
they
said
have the whole jury. Okay.
Yeah. She's going to send out 600 questionnaires again. But she said she has to get with the person in Allen County that deals with the jury stuff, which told me, I said, well, damn, if she's going to have 50 at a time, there ain't going to be nobody be able to sit in the gallery.
Laura,
nobody.
Send them to me.
And hey, Laura. She takes damn
her.
Good notes, too.
Yeah. Laura has also been a big help.
Laura, once you invite her up. Yeah, me and her were noting together. We were like, I'd put something and she put something, we would share. I was looking over at her and she would look over at me at my pad.
Yeah.
She's good too. And she's a psychologist too. Yeah, lunchtime was at 1:00 and he never came back.
I'd like to know if Ari's daughter was questioned about everything. Oh, I'm sure she was.
Yeah.
They all were.
Holman admitted he had talked to her.
Yeah, and I'm sure she is keeping a low profile until she has to be there.
And I found out that Richard's new address is at his daughter's house in Napanee.
Oh.
It must be where they'd be having sending their mail and stuff, is what I would imagine.
Right. All right. I am caught up with comments. Look at that.
Alexa, are you still here?
Alexa, are you out there? Funny story yesterday. I laid down and I had set an alarm and I could not remember Alexa's name. So it kept beeping and beeping and beeping until it finally I woke up enough to remember the name and tell her to stop it.
Emails after email. Lord, my goodness. But I don't want to cut short, but Kristen wanted me to come on too, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
No problem. I still don't know. I haven't made up my mind about tomorrow, but more than likely I'm not going to because of 3 hours of sleep. I'm dragging ass, guys.
Yeah.
You know, I got to bed at 9:30 last night and fell asleep about 11:30 and was right back up at 1:30.
Oh, wow.
And you have rescue came and got me at 3. So if I'm not there tomorrow, I'm sure people will keep.
Laura says you got to go, Frank.
Man, I didn't even know to say that because I was getting an attitude today that Rosie was pissing me off. Did you see what Laura said? She said, I'll come on if Deb comes on.
Yeah.
But all right, guys. Until next time, peace out. One love, guys.
Yes.
Thank you, Marv.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Bye. All right, everybody. Well, like we said, there were some bombs dropped today. What do you all think about what's happened the past 2 days? That's what I'm interested in. We did the 3 days of the walks in April. Yes, we did. Boy, did that wear us out. Really appreciate, like I said, everybody's help in getting this information. Andrea is constantly looking for updates on other Facebook groups and everything, you know, getting all the opinions, different opinions. Like I said, everybody perceives everything that's said differently. But I really appreciate everybody's help out there, giving me information and notes and everything like that so that I can tell you all what's going on. Can't wait to see what happens tomorrow, folks. That tomorrow is going to be the biggest day of them all. Because if Judge Gull grants the motion of limine, it's over for the defense and their third party theory. And if that happens, I can see more continuances happening. So, with that being said, tomorrow I will be going live, but it will probably be later in the night. I have some things to take care of for Tabitha's case tomorrow also in the afternoon, late afternoon. So I will get a set up. I'll get the live set up as soon as I can for tomorrow night, and review notes and everything throughout the day. Oh yes, Laura, absolutely. Come on. We want to hear everybody's opinion. Yes, we appreciate all the boots on the ground taking notes. There's your link, Laura. But, I mean, these people are taking the time out of their day to do this and sit there and listen to the information and actually write notes, so each and every one of us that can't be there appreciate that. Let me see here. Okay. So let's see here. Gotta find my screen again. I won't push it too much, believe me. Things are looking better. I'm going from one extreme to the other and back, so with the blood sugar. So hopefully that'll all level off here in the next few days. I'm lost feeding animals and washing dishes. Did we learn anything new? Oh God, Lollipop, you're going to have to go back and watch. Yes, absolutely, Cindy. Laura, are you coming? Okay, waiting. Come on up. I'm trying. Believe me. I'm definitely trying. My appointment went good on, what day was that? Tuesday, yesterday. So trying some different things with medications. All right, 1 second here. Laura, I'm going to put the link in the chat again because I'm not sure what you clicked on, but I don't have you in the background. So hopefully that will help. And then I'm also going to come on here and hopefully I can get a link to it. I suck at the StreamYard. Is everyone feeling okay tonight mentally? I think it's a lot to take in, Louise. I really do. Especially hearing that he wanted to take out his family and the whole feces thing is just absolutely gross. I'm not showing you in the waiting room, Laura. So I don't know which waiting room you're in. I think knowing that he confessed 61 times with specific details of the crime or the crime scene, that blew me away. Another 40 plus times without details. Hearing the context of Walla testifying that that he asked her to call his wife, and she did. And he said to his wife, I killed those girls. And then the call got disconnected, whether he did it or some other way. And he looked at her and said, I don't think she believes me. Hearing that he is arguing with his attorneys on how to proceed with this case and has made the statements that he doesn't want to go to trial. And put them through that. All right, let me see here. Okay, let me see here. I'm not sure why it's taking Laura to an area that it normally doesn't. I had no idea until after my uncle passed that he even had it. Yep. It's difficult that his family are not being able to believe that. The defense and others giving false hope is overwhelming. It really is. You know, it really makes me wonder what Baldwin and Rosie are doing. If this man truly does not want to go to trial, why are they forcing him? Because I'm pretty sure if they went to Nick McClelland and said, oh, here she comes, and said that he wants to take a plea to set one up, they would. Hello, Laura.
You know what? It was just me trying to change my name to Laura so that I didn't freak people out. And I think every time I tried to do that, so I just had the initial LV, you know, I don't know. So I'm learning this. So as we talk, I'm going to go to YouTube and then find your channel so I can watch the chat because there's awesome people in the chat.
Actually, do you see where it says private chat?
Yeah.
And then comments?
Is that all the comments or just?
It should be all the comments if you hit comments.
Wow. Yeah. And then that's neat. Interesting. I'm way behind.
You guys have been through a lot sitting in that courtroom.
Oh, not even that. Okay. So, see, I was sitting by Frank and we were at the end of our rope. When I would like shift forward, he'd shift back. I mean, you couldn't change positions enough.
Right.
We were so done. And then because I'm just going to say Rosie, you need to get them ahead. His round of questioning with this lady was just, I mean, getting nowhere fast.
With Walla.
Holy. And then so finally Diener had an objection and then things moved. It was like because I think it felt like he had like 10 points to make and he got through like 0.3 with her. But like he asked every single question from like, okay, well, when were you born? Okay. Do you remember? You know, like,
Okay.
remember your birth? What was like, I mean, it was just, you know, there were way too far back questions for every kind of topic. So,
Right.
but also I just joined. I'm not sure where you're at. I would love it.
Wherever you want to talk about.
Well, if Deb comes on here too, that'd be great. Because she made a video on like the stuff I sent her at the very end. That was kind of, I mean, it was like 10 hours. So I have notes upon notes.
Oh, I bet.
I would usually, sometimes I turn to Jinx and be like, interpret this for me. So, and then it was just that last hour that I was like really, you know, because I really like Harshman. So I had never really seen him in person. So
that's really, what I would have found interesting.
That's exactly right. It was, I struggled to keep my eyes awake or my eyes open all day. And then, like, so Frank Meister left and, oh, hi, Louise. Sorry, I'll try to type in the chat instead of just chatting with the chat. Okay. So he left, but I mean, so finally we're like, there's no way it's going to go to 5 o'clock. He went to 5 o'clock. Then we're like, wait, there's no way it's going to go to 6 o'clock. Yeah, it did. But
it did.
But Frank was pretty ticked off. He's like, I've had enough. And I agree. Because it was everything that we listened to in the whole June hearing. So I kind of wanted to tell him, though, about the last hour. Because it was like, okay, we all did that except, you know, sat there in the last hour was really good when Harshman came on. I do have a lot of thoughts about the psychologist that was in that whole thing. That went about 4 hours. I have a lot of thoughts about that. But
I can't wait to hear more from her.
Yeah, I'll put that aside for now because I gotta.
I mean, the defense called her, thought that she was their witness, and she actually screwed them and became more of a witness for the prosecution than the defense. And I think that's going to be the same way in the trial.
Well, see, then you're giving me can you please come with me and sit beside me? Because like you're the person I usually ask. Like, it's like I have like the details and you have like the bare bones because I didn't really know who was like who'd start with what because I was like, who called her in?
Mm-hmm.
Because I almost feel like because they screwed her over the most. I thought she was that. Are you sure? Or do they both call her?
No, you always know who calls the witness because they are the one that questions her first and gets the last opportunity to question the witness.
Wow. They seriously, well then why did they bring up they brought up like all these ethical things that she did wrong?
I don't know. That's what baffles me.
That baffles me too. And I seriously like a kid in a classroom, I wanted to raise my hand and be like, excuse me, like, because I mean, she's on the stand. She didn't know she was going to be asked about some of these 5 ethical principles.
But I think the reason that the defense did it was they thought they could get over her and under her skin and make her say things that they wanted her to say, but she wouldn't do it.
Oh. All right. Well, I feel. Do you feel like they did that in deposition?
Oh, I'm sure they did.
And she knew that, and so she came on strong, and she was admitting. Okay, that makes a lot of sense then.
Those experts, those kinds of experts, they are schooled on how to testify at a trial.
Louise, there was so much. I mean, it was like 4 hours of back and forth of did she say this? Did she do this? And like all of her psych reports, it was just so much to comprehend. So, I mean, she actually did. Yeah. I thought she was a prosecution witness because she did excellent. And also Diener, because, you know, as a psychologist, there was one thing I was like, I wanted to raise my hand and be like, excuse me, this one thing he's getting wrong.
Yeah.
It's important, you know, like the diagnostic and statistical manual. That's like what we diagnose on. So it'd be like the number one, like what's the most published medical research book right now for, you know, in different communities. So she corrected him and he ignored her, still asked the same question and then continued like she was the fool. So
yeah.
Then but so Diener caught that. And okay. So I'm going to put that aside because I could go on forever and I'd have to build a background. So, okay, Frank Meister leaves. We are, I don't know, do you have any just general questions about like the day, who was there, the vibe?
No, I think we're just eager to hear more about Brian's testimony that I haven't already said, because I don't have a lot of details on that.
Got it. Sure. And that's what I wanted to tell Frank, but also, so Deb made a video on it, Deb's True Crime Notebook. So she's got like the heart of it, but I can kind of go through like, when we all kind of came back to life, like,
right.
So, okay. So he just bailed and I didn't even notice he was gone. Everyone's like falling asleep in their seats. So then, I'd seen Harshman around the building and I was like, oh, people would like wait to go up the stairs until he crossed. I was like, who's that? Had no idea.
They were wondering who he was.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I've emailed him a couple times, so I didn't know that was him. He went up there and he said that he's a marshal, I think, and he worked with ISP and agreed to give them help. Okay. He agreed to, and I'm like, yeah, let's take this on. So he was in charge of basically reviewing all of the calls, videos, everything from, he's a guard. Louise, he's definitely a police officer. He's former law enforcement. He was at ISP, and I feel like now he's a marshal or something. He's a U.S. marshal, but I don't know exactly where. He's definitely very respected. Okay, so he gets up there, and so they, we're all kind of bored, and they start talking about the confessions. Okay, right, and basically we kind of get into that. There was a 60 plus, and that's a low estimate.
A low estimate.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm going to explain to you a little bit more about a low estimate in just a bit here. Okay. So then, I didn't write down all the questions. I kind of wrote his answers, but I remember like how Diener let him in. She was great. She said, well, tell us about what were some of the first confessions like. And so she said, well, first Ms. Allen and Mom, they were to them, and they were extremely upset. Which they would be,
exactly.
And I sat behind them. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but, so they were initially, and that was the reaction. So, and then, so I guess what I want to say is that I'd like to not say things. I wish I had question, answer, so that I don't misspeak, but here's my answer. So, okay. So then the answer was, as they went on, they're messing. I can't even read my own handwriting. Okay. All right. As they went on, the confessions became more and more, and then the responses were different, because they were very upset at first, and then, so the mom's response was, they're messing with you. They're messing with your head. They're messing with your mind. Ms. Allen's response was, just stop talking. This one got me, okay? And I tried to catch up on you said this way earlier. I don't know the time slot, but you're gonna like this, because this one got me. They go, some of the things was like, stop talking, or I'm gonna call Brad.
Oh.
So does that sound like what does it say to you, Marv?
That tells me that the defense is telling the mother and the wife, they're definitely talking to them, the family members, and
so are they looking at
and almost assuring them that he didn't do this?
They're still assuring him.
Yes,
I can say that. I sat behind them. They still believe it. So, but is that putting his best interest at heart?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so then there's also then it came to like, stop talking about this. You don't know what you're saying. those kind of things. Okay.
Right.
Then the question was, hey, did any of these statements explain or relate the motive? He did say yes, but he did not. That was not touched upon. That was moved over. Okay, so we don't know.
But he did state that some of his statements did tell what the motive was.
Really? He did.
No,
Yes, correct.
That's what I'm asking you. That
Yes, yes.
Okay.
He did, but he didn't
So
share
they
it.
do know what his motive was.
They know. From
Okay.
from the statements.
Right.
But they did not go into that. Okay.
Right, which I understand.
Okay. But then they did say that some statements relate to why he delayed in confessing about killing the girls. They did touch on that.
Okay.
Okay. So, and he question answer. He said yes. And they're like, okay, well, tell us about that or something. He said, well, one of his the most common concern, because I think I wish I had the numbers that he said of how many hours that he looked through, but I don't have that, but I mean, it was long, a lot of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, he's like, well, the biggest common concern that came up was about his family and what his family's going to think of him.
Right.
Didn't Doug Carter say that in a...
Yes, he did.
Okay. So, it was kind of like, will you still love me?
Tomorrow? Yeah.
As a, like will you still, as a result of the trial, after this, will you still love? Apparently that was an ongoing kind of thing. If this comes out this way, will you still love me? So he wants to know that he's still loved by his family. And
no lollipop.
I'm just reading by my notes. So, okay. So then at some point there was this statement that there's been so many statements and stuff that it became, well, if this becomes too much for you, just let me know and I'll talk to the detectives and tell them everything they wanted to know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so he did say that at one point. And so then Harshman said the bulk of the statement started in early April through June. And through the end of and then ended in end of July. So, right. And then they started to slow down. So I don't have the time frame here, but does anybody else? So it seemed like if you go back to, it was like prompted and it kind of all started at a certain point.
Yeah.
Some other things that I wrote down answers. So when he was asked, finally, then they got into, okay, they went back to what was the concern or what was the reason he delayed the confession. And he said, well, he's kind of concerned about, what the family would think and at the trial and concerned about the photos that his family would see of what he did.
Oh.
Uh-huh. And then it said he indicated he didn't want them to see what he had done.
Right.
That's my notes. Okay, and then were there confessions at Wabash? Because it slowed down at a certain point.
Right.
At this point, so I gave Deb more details, so go check it out on Deb's channel. Okay. But essentially, like something they were definitely lowered, but there was one comment, something about he felt bad for killing Abby.
Okay, in Wabash.
But why just Abby?
Okay.
What do you make of that? Why not? Why not live?
That tells me that he was more aggressive towards Libby and doesn't have as much regret, if any, towards Libby, but he's got a whole bunch of it towards Abby.
Okay.
And that tells me that Abby was not his target.
So that's interesting because I think that's going to be very interesting. Of like, who knows? Right.
I think to me it says that he feels more bad because he had to kill her because she was there.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't the person that he was going after.
Okay, so that's all. That's still up for discussion. Like,
right, but that's just my opinion.
Out of that, so
yep.
I definitely think. But here's the thing: is I think we're gonna, if we found this out, we're gonna learn at some point. We're like, he's not an innocent patsy. Anyway,
Right.
So then there was the question, you know, in any of these statements, now also let me be clear, when he said he categorized the threats or the confessions. So
Yeah.
sounds like there were even more that could have been categorized. For example, when he was in Wabash and he didn't say them as much, but he started to say things like, well, if they said I confessed, then I guess I did. And, you know, so then they're
Oh,
saying he's talking about a confession in the past.
okay.
Okay. So, and that was Rosie's like rebuttal.
Right.
But he was like, well, yeah, I didn't count that. He didn't count that in his 60 total that was underestimated.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a lot. Then, so he was very kind of descript on what he counted as confessions. And so then he was also asked, did he give as many, I mean, I should go in order, right? I should tell you this and then the rebuttal, but whatever. Then Rosie also asked him, well, did he have as many confessions of his innocence, professing his innocence as he did whatever? He's like, yes, he did profess his innocence, but he'd still profess it, but then still, you know, say in a roundabout way that he found God, and he'd say, I'm so innocent, but if they say I confessed, and he's like, so again, he didn't count those. So then it got all like, I think there's just so many that it's.
I see what's going on there. Yeah.
Okay.
Rossie's like, oh, you're counting every time you said this, this, and this as one of these. And he's trying to tell him, no, I didn't. These were specific things said that we counted as a confession, not just a statement.
Okay. Marv, if you were sitting there in the courtroom with me, I would have turned, like, you could have definitely helped me. And then I turned to you and I would have been like, okay, so, but doesn't, do they all have to know what each other knows before they're going on stand, right? Like switching discoveries? No. I thought they like know that they've been deposed, so they know what they're being questioned about. Or they have to show discovery. So did they, you know, I don't know if that.
I mean, I'm sure that.
So Rosie at this point doesn't know that there's 600 some. Like he wouldn't know that.
He should if he's looked at the evidence.
600. That was an exaggeration. Sorry, 60.
Yeah.
Okay.
He should if he has looked at the evidence the prosecution has given him.
But then, right. So then why would he need to clarify?
That's just a trick that they play, the defense team. They always try to offhand all that stuff to make the jury think that they're twisting things and adding in more things.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
To try to get
the nothing is a surprise. They both know the information that this side has that the other side has.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's called discovery.
Thank you.
Yep.
I feel like you're telling me the basics of like, that's called the alphabet, Laura.
Yep. No, that is what
I'm
you
learning
say in the
backwards
discovery.
from this. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So then he, all right, at Wabash. Okay. All right. So then the question, definitely I don't have the time frame down. So I'm just going to kind of give you my notes, details. Someone else has time, like whatever. So whenever he went to Wabash, he was kind of asked, about, so one of his confessions was about like, did he feel bad for killing Ab? Or he said, he spontaneously said he felt bad for killing Abby. Now it wasn't said he didn't feel bad for killing Libby, but you know,
right.
That. Then I told Deb some more details, which I want to not say publicly because I
that's okay.
myself away. But then there's so then we get to they asked, was there maybe in a memorandum, and this is probably something in a memorandum, there must have been a reference to Richard Allen feeling tortured. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that, okay, you do?
Yep.
Okay, great. So they touched on that. And they're like, yeah, he said yes. Yeah, he talked about that. And he's like, yeah, he states he feels like he's been mentally tortured.
Yes.
And they asked, has he been physically? He said physically tortured. Every time we'd ask him, he said no. But mentally, I mean, it went back to the lights and the loud sounds.
Yep.
Okay, and even though at one point we discovered he had a dimmer on one of the lights, but still, I mean, it's gonna be loud, you know.
Right.
So, but it's just also some of these things I'm like, that's just jail. But anyway, he in his mind, he thinks it's a torture tactic that the DOC is using to mentally and psychologically torture him. And then, so that was a full note I got through, and then more questioning, and essentially I got that guards, that Holman didn't just ask the companion program people about it. That was a big discussion, the companion program, of how weird that is, how blah, blah. It's, I mean, getting in jail, and that is a thing. It's like, I don't know, it's we have limited resources, and you just, some of the questions I felt that were coming from their end, on the defense's end, expected the jail and even the psychologist to be like they were an inpatient treatment facility or a rehab facility. And it's like, no, this is a prison with related services of mental health, contracted mental health counseling. So they were expecting her to like be responsible for so many things that a contract, like, it's just like kind of a bonus. Like, you're like, you get, do you get dentistry in jail? I don't know.
I don't get this, because these are supposed to be two of the most reputable defense attorneys in that area. Okay? You can't tell me they're that dumb.
Well, Baldwin did not show back up. And then I would say today, well, I guess he had something to leave for, but Rozzy, that's when Frank Meister left, because our brains were like just exploding out of our head. Like, if he had a point to make with this Monica person, he could have divided the questions. Like, I mean, I think there's like, by like 100.
Right.
I mean, it's like, you don't have to go that step by step to get to the point of, oh gosh. So that's why okay. Then, okay, so Harshman had actually said that, he'd been there. After listening to everything, he talked to all the guards, and he said, the guards actually felt like his treatment was above and beyond what others were receiving, and what made him think that. And so much so that, like, kind of like the teacher's pet. Like, if it gets, this is my interpretation, by the way.
Right.
Like, I was interpreting like as a teacher's pet, so much so that other guards, like, that's what's causing problems. The other guards were noticing, or not the other guards, the other inmates were noticing, like.
Right.
So, I mean, that doesn't help relations, And
no, then they're going to target him more because they feel like he is getting special treatment, which means they're going to be jerks and make more noise and in the areas and stuff. And yeah, I could see that.
And then earlier in the day, they just, sometimes they just bring up these things about how he's so, it's like it's jail, how he's so isolated from everybody and everything. Yet one of the things I noted was, oh yeah, he had a tablet and he can basically call anybody at all times of the day.
Yep.
So that's why Harshman has so much to listen to, because he's not constricted. He can call family, anybody, all times of the day with good behavior. Now, so it's like they just flip flop, because they go to that. It's like, well, and then now you're saying that I mean, he's getting, so it's like the opposite. He's getting really good treatment, and then he's, because once you break your device that got you in there, they usually don't give it back to you. And so the psychologist, I guess, vouched for him to get it back. Okay, that doesn't really happen often. So, I mean, they want to keep arguing this. He's so ostracized. What does all this stuff do to your mental health? Yada. Well, also, what would Gen Pop do? I hate saying that. I feel like so uncool.
Right.
Gen Pop, general population. Like, what would that also? Have we also studied what that does to somebody's mental health, where you do get beat up and bullied and sliced and not? I mean,
it would be just as bad. It's just on the spectrum is One is up here and one is down here.
I mean,
And-
he'd be getting all
but they're
kinds of
both
physical
just
abuse,
as
all
bad.
kinds of. They couldn't protect him. I mean, that's like, you know, there's way more access to other prisoners like that
Right.
can do, and it's, you know, and they're like, oh, he's never had a criminal record before, right? So he's not a scrappy guy. Like he's gonna get beat up. So I mean, which way do you want it? All right, now then it said Harshman did ask a lot of the guards, and then Rozzy like spoke up real quick. Oh my gosh, he asked the companions. I'm like, no, he's like, no, he asked staff, and that there was documented behavior that was considered bizarre. I'm sure we all know what that could be.
Yeah.
And then they asked, did more than one officer share their opinion about that behavior? And he said, yes. He asked all 10, and he said, I could say, you know, at least. So he's always doing the kind of the minimum here. 8 out of 10 agreed that they felt like this was feigned behavior.
Wow.
And that was also, so that's what I started to take away from the day. I mean, that, okay. So like basically, you know, when did this start? And he was kind of feigning it, or really kind of acting up.
Right.
And so if you know, Monica, or the psychiatrist or psychologist, excuse me, she's a psychologist, so she can't prescribe medicine.
Right.
If she was a defense witness, well, they sure slammed her, and now she's gonna be prosecution because, I mean, they destroyed her.
But you got to remember, they were trying to suppress her testimony.
Oh, that's why they slammed her.
Yes.
Oh, well, they slammed her. Yeah.
That's why they slammed her.
Oh, okay. I was like, I thought they were gonna be nice to her. Yeah. They were awful to her.
Yep.
But things she had said was that, I mean, she wasn't necessarily purposely, I could definitely say she wasn't playing purposely hot or cold to one side at all, because there's something that, you know, but one of the things that was asked was whether, like, when this was noticed, in she basically kind of it started to trigger after they all came in that one day. And so now whether it was he saw his charges or whatever, it was when the whole crew came in.
Okay.
And so basically it's his whole defense team that came in, and I mean, I think that was after the first confession. So she did say that's when it started, and that, which there's so many pages of notes on her, which I'm not going to go into, so I'll finish up here. But there was that, and then they asked, okay, if any of the questions, because they keep saying that there was this debate going on between, are we, like, is this relevant? Is this are we saying this is environmental? You know, are we using that thing that's environmental coercion? Because so they kept wanting to pull that of, like, this, we've never had a person who's not convicted of a crime in this, you know, kind of facility. Okay.
Right.
They always default back to that. But so the question to Harshman was there any question or any of on the 60 confessions he heard that were in part of an interrogation or seemed coerced, or, like, basically, like, you know, question was asked.
Right.
Said not a single one.
Wow.
And then let's see. So, you know, again, I could say Rosie got up there with his, you know, strong cross. Well, are you monitoring it in real time? So you're saying you sat there and everything he did, like, you were already sitting on the phone listening to him. He's like, no, I'm not monitoring it in real time. And he's like, so this man had no privacy whatsoever? And it's like, no, duh. He's like, no, every phone call that I've ever listened to says on both sides, you're going to be recorded.
Right.
You know, and he's like, so, like, where is but also, like, I don't understand this expectation of privacy, because I don't think there really is one in any jail per se.
No, there's not.
So that kind of got me.
Dumb on their part. That made him look like a fool, in my opinion.
Oh gosh, that's just what they default to. I think there's a number of times. And then they tried to go, well, how many times did he profess his innocence? Well, he did profess his innocence sometimes too, but he was saying like he would still say like I'm innocent, but if I confess and if they say I confess, then so it's always this. But he didn't he also said he didn't count those kind of conversations as
a confession, right?
Yeah, thank you. And then there was he brought up some things in cross that they never quite got to because it was pushing 7 o'clock.
Okay.
He was like, so did you ever hear that he shot them in the back? And he's like, no. So I don't know where those came from. And he's like, no, I didn't. And then, Rosie didn't really have a comeback for that.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that, he's like, I've heard that through the discovery or through being in law enforcement, but I don't think I heard that on any of my recordings or anything he was supposed to look up.
No, there's rumors that he said he was asked how he would do things differently. And he said that, and I'm talking Richard Allen, allegedly he said he would have shot them in the back.
Oh, well, that's the first time I've heard that version, Marv.
Yeah, I've heard that.
No, but that's a whole different thing because you're saying allegedly how he would have done it differently. I've just heard that was a false confession, that he shot them in the back.
No, I heard that.
See, everybody needs to chill out so we get all the facts.
I know.
Man. Okay, now I'll be quiet. Questions for me.
No, I mean everything you said made sense in my head.
Good.
So,
well, it didn't in mine. So
but you gotta realize that I have been reading and doing true crime and watching all these trials for over 20 years.
I know, and that's why whenever we've
for however long
before,
they've been on TV,
we connect because we have different brains. Like you get the backbone, and I get the random.
Right.
Deb is so like that too when I talk to her. So
yep.
All right. Well.
So I can't wait to see what tomorrow brings.
So this would help me if you'd summarize it to Frank Meister of what happened in the last hour. Like what would
I can do that.
Yeah. Well, tell me what would you be like? What are the top 5 things?
So basically, the number of confessions, actual confessions with details and without details.
Did he tell you all about the 5 buckets?
Yes.
Okay. So
and that's another big thing is the number of different people he told this to. Wasn't just the same people
or actors or yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the same people. That's key.
Did he name all 5 of them?
Yeah, he did. Okay. Oh, I did.
Nice.
I had gotten the information.
Okay.
And had put it out there. I think another big thing is that this whole thing with Abby. He is very apologetic when it comes to Abby, which actually makes sense to me in other ways because Abby wasn't as severely hurt or injured as Libby. Abby was clothed and Libby was not. That's another reason why it makes me think that Libby was the target. He was there to not defame her, but what is the word I'm looking for, Laura?
Not to defile.
He was there to defile and do whatever he could to make Libby look the worst.
Right, but also, was it? I guess the question is why was he after? Like, did he have maybe a love obsession for? Because this is new to me. If I didn't know that either of them were targeted or if it was random or whatever. So my question would be like, did he have a love obsession or something for Abby, and then Libby got in the way?
Hatred towards Libby.
So, well, she was standing up for her friend. So in that moment, he just killed her, like, or just like get away. But then he loved Abby in some sick way. So then he, you're right. Not desecrated. What's the opposite? wanted to memorialize or like
Right.
hide his sins. So I guess that,
Yes.
that kind of thing could go both ways, I guess.
And I think that when he's haunted by all of this, killing Abby is what haunts him. Not the fact that he did it to Libby. Abby is what haunts him.
Right. Okay, that is definitely a theme, but I guess we
Mhm.
still have to argue though. Is it because he loved her, like he had a fetish for her, he liked her so much that that's what he, whatever, and, you know, Libby's fierce as shit and was gonna stand up for her friend, or what?
So, no, think of it this way. This man has a confrontation with two teenage girls. One is very quiet and shy and docile, which means she can be
Do you mean
controlled.
docile?
Docile and can be
That's
controlled.
pretty. Hold on,
The
that's pretty
other is
dominating.
more outgoing, will tell you to your face what she thinks of you, and you can just F off, and she will fight you.
Okay. So he runs into them.
Gets in a verbal confrontation with Libby.
Okay.
Gets pissed off
Yeah.
and does what he does, and unfortunately Abby is collateral damage because she was there at the time.
Okay, so I actually have questions for you then, because you'll probably know, because everyone's talked about it. These were things I had questions about. The box cutter. Everyone's talking about the box cutter. I don't know what I was doing. I was in the courtroom. I don't know why I didn't hear that. Did you hear about that?
The box cutter?
Okay. I don't, well then there was something, yeah, Frank didn't hear it either. I don't know. What about, there's something else. I don't know.
Humiliate. That's the word.
Humiliate. Okay. Thank you.
Defile, humiliate. Yeah.
I think I love how you can combine two words. Dominacle. Like it's like dominate versus docile. That's what I would do. Okay, there was that, and there. What were you talking about right before? I had a question of.
I can't remember.
I know, me neither. I mean, every page of my book is like, I lost places to write. So.
And I do believe Chaos is on the right track, because Doug Carter said this is about power and control.
Oh, there you go.
He could not control Libby.
All right, KS, that's actually brilliant. I wrote that down in my notes because this is a Dr. Walla thing, which I'm again not going to get into tonight. But I mean, here's another thing that added up to that, which she didn't even know she was like answering to. The hunger strikes that he had, right? He was losing so much weight. Oh, sorry, Lollipop. It's a lot to back up to. The hunger strike though is. He was never in a full hunger strike. Like it never fully lasted. He was trying it and those kind of things.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Right. And so then, you know, when the psychiatrist would talk to him about it, he would say, well, it's about controlling my environment or something, or controlling some things that I have control of. And then also trying to my fitness and whatever. And fitness and lose the weight.
And taking a shower. All of that is what he had control over.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And, you know, Tony Garner was in, you know, he was kind of in this back in the day. He'll be on, I met Hannah Shakespeare. He was he knew Hannah Shakespeare back in the day. And, you know, he also worked in like children's mental health facilities. And so one thing he always told me was, so shout out to Tony. I'll have to show him this. He'll definitely come on and chat with you, Marv. But he was like, this is this classic of even what he's doing now. Even his behavior in a facility like this is control. Yep. But also, so I was thinking that, but then from that, it seemed like it was even induced more. Like it was like, hey, don't do this. We're going to call Brad. Like, they, you know, I mean, that was a lot of that. So, you know, so many things are, power and control to you. Like things that Doug Carter said are all coming together.
Yeah, it is. Well, girl, I gotta get off of here.
Okay.
But thank you so much for coming on and for everybody listening. Like I said, I'll make another thumbnail and stream for tomorrow night. We'll go over day 3. I actually think they're gonna go to day 4.
You think? Hey, do you want me to I could get Tony to do you go like live during the day or do you got something
No, I can go live during the day.
All right. I'll see what if like Tony is such a great source. I'd see if you'd want to like come on and kind of explain
that would be great.
catch up.
That would be great.
So, all right. Well,
thank you so much, Laura. I appreciate it.
Thank you for putting my brain together and understanding the the most important points. Okay. All right. Bye, Marv.
Bye. All right, everybody. Well, I really appreciate, like I said, Turbo Time, Frank Meister, Jinx, Tommy, Laura, everyone who is there, boots on the ground, giving us this information, and for Laura and Frank to come on tonight and talk with us and give us their point of view and what they heard. I mean, I love it. We are going to get through this. We are going to learn what happened to Abby and Libby no matter what, whether there's a trial or a plea deal. I can tell you that. It's not going to stay hidden forever. They can't. At some point, they have to release the documents that are sealed. So, I will be back with you tomorrow night to give you an update on day 3. Until then, have a great night and a great day tomorrow. And thank you all for joining me and others tonight. I've had a great time reading your comments and talking to everybody. So, mwah. I'll see you soon. Bye.